Scottie Barnes continues to be a beast. Dennis Schroder is showing his worth as Otto Porter makes his way back into the rotation. Hey everyone, welcome into Inside the Raptors. Rob Wong joined alongside by Mike Ganter and Ryan Wolstat of the Toronto Sun. And guys, what can you say about Scottie Barnes at this point? He has clearly taken the leap in his third year, averaging 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. Mike, I know you were high on Scottie coming into the season, but could you ever have imagined to start like this?
No, I didn't think it'd be this quick. You could tell, even like the little bit we saw him in the preseason, you could tell that he was a different guy. Like he felt some ownership on this team. He felt, not that he didn't a year ago or even 2 years ago, but it's just that. And I hate to say this because I love Fred VanVleet, but I mean his departure opened the door for Scotty to be Scotty, and it's been nothing short of miraculous. He's been like everything you'd want in a leader. He takes over games when he has to. He's still distributing. He's just, it's like he grew up overnight. And no, I've just been extremely impressed.
Yeah, I think the best way to say it is he looks like a franchise player, and the
Yeah.
Raptors hoped that maybe he would be when they kind of drafted him higher than a lot of people thought, and then he was the rookie of the year. He looked really, really good that year.
Yep.
But as Mike said, it was still Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet's team very much. It was, he was the rookie of the year. He exceeded expectations, but he was kind of a cast member. And then last year there was a bit of a struggle of, well, whose team is it, and how can he shine if those guys, get more of the attention and the touches and everything, and he also was out of shape, as he admitted himself
Yep.
last year. He wasn't in the shape he needed to be, and he really recommitted this year. Instead of doing all the endorsements and off the court stuff, he committed to being a great player, and he always had the talent to be it. It was just, is he going to work to get it? And obviously he is, and now the Raptors have a heck of a player on their hands, because he looks even better than he did as the
Yeah.
rookie.
And we haven't even talked about his shot yet. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's shooting 42% from three. Like he really committed himself this summer. You can tell. And I mean, Masai kind of gave us a bit of a hint. I think it was at the end of last year. Yeah, I think it was the year-end press conference after last season, and he said, "Look, Scotty grew up quite a bit this year." He said, "We had I think it was around February. There was a big talk, and it was like he just got rid of all the garbage off the court and got rid of that and started focusing on things he needed to focus on. And then this summer, yeah, he just took off."
Yeah, I think we kind of forget sometimes just how young these guys
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
mature, and how it can change in a year or half a year when they grow up a bit.
You mentioned Scotty's shooting prowess from behind the arc. Another guy shooting the lights out right now, Ryan, is Dennis Schroder,
Hmm.
who has possibly been the second best Raptor this season when you look at some of the statistics. Why do you think he's been able to thrive under Darko Rajakovic?
Well, I think the familiarity he had with him, they were obviously got along great at Oklahoma City. They both really liked each other, and that's the main reason Dennis signed here, aside from the money and the role. But he seems like a seamless fit. He seems to get along really well with the other players, and they don't have a problem with his decision making. Because he's been really effective. He's shot the three at pretty much a career high clip, but he's also passing way more, getting more assists than ever before. He's fourth in the NBA in assists. Just having a fantastic season. I think the system really agrees with him, the other players, and he was coming off a real heater this summer,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
MVP of the World Cup. He's a little older, but he looks to be in his prime. Like he's a weird player, because some fits haven't been as good for him, and he's looked really bad, and some fits he's looked awesome, and some fits he's looked in between. And clearly, Toronto agrees with him.
I think this is the first time though that he's actually been given some like a long leash.
Yeah.
He's just like Darko trusts him, and I think that means the world to Dennis. Um, you could tell that the two men really have a real relationship and a tight one right from the get go. But Dennis, it just feels like he's finally found the spot where he can thrive. And I mean, he doesn't have to be the number one leader on this team, although he certainly carries himself like one of the leaders on this team. But I mean, the role is perfect for him. He's it's a good fit, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here.
Lastly, Otto Porter has appeared in just 2 of the last 3 games, Mike, but in those minutes has shown what he can provide to this group. He's been sort of an afterthought in
Yeah.
recent times, but has he worked his way into the rotation, or do you think it's still a game-by-game case for when he is utilized?
Well, if he hasn't, then somebody's not paying attention, because he changes the game when he comes on the floor. He's just a steadying influence, doesn't need the ball. Um, spreads the floor because he can shoot the three, and when he does shoot the three, like he's hitting it at a pretty good clip. So it was kind of baffling to me. I guess it was baffling to me that he wasn't in sooner, but I guess the response to that was they were still working him back up to into game shape. I mean, he was off all of last year with a broken middle toe. Again, baffled me how that could take an entire year, but I'm not sure. He was out. We never saw him, and finally you're getting to see the dividends. I think he'll change that bench significantly. I think he comes in. I just hope it's not at the expense of Chris Boucher. I think Chris needs to be in there too. But having said that, they've got to find a way to get Otto in there.
The only issue with Otto Porter has ever been his health. This guy, funny enough, he's the highest draft pick on the Raptors roster. He was a third overall pick for a reason. He's big, he's very skilled, he's very smart. He's a really good player. It's just he's hurt a lot, and that's why the Raptors were able to get him on the cheap last year. And unfortunately, last year didn't work. But you can see what he can provide when he's in the lineup, because it's not just the 3-point shooting, it's not just the rebounding, it's how smart he is. Because these aren't the Raptors of a few years ago where everyone had a genius level basketball IQ. There's still a few guys figuring it out, and just having that steadying presence on the bench, especially on a bench that doesn't have a lot of shooting, like it's, if they can figure out a way to get Grady Dick and Gary Trent going too, then all of a sudden that's one of the better shooting benches in the league, like, which is pretty crazy to think about. So yeah, he could be a huge a piece. It's just he's got to stay on the floor.
Yeah, the Raptors rotation starting to take shape right now. As always, you can leave your Raptors thoughts in the comments section below, or send us an email at torontoraptors@postmedia.com. For Mike Ganter and Ryan Wolstat, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.